Hello. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce and the views expressed live right here on Spreaker.com. Brought to you by Liberty and Freedom Network. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check out what I'm going to be talking about today. But today, also, along with that, I will be breaking down this little document called the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yeah, I'm going to be breaking that down just a little bit. Also going to read you a simplified version of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Going to do that for you today. Going to share some news with you. Going to go over some things, give you my opinion of different things. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, if you would, please. If you would like, you can email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Just in the last few minutes, I put up a few things on the Liberty and Freedom Network there on Facebook. What happens when governments disarm their citizens? Also, IBM RFID commercial, the future market. And of course, a quote from Adolf Hitler. Police presence at the RNC in Tampa, Florida, August 2012. I put that picture up. Shows you what's coming, folks. What's coming down the line. I want to direct your attention, though, to fight the UN gun ban. After the break, I'm going to get into that one. Also going to get into Australia bans guns, didn't fix crime. From Australia Bureau of Criminology, 2010. So those two I'm going to talk about right after the break. I want to thank everyone for coming and listening and being here and being a part of the views expressed live right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. You want to email the network, you can at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. I just got so much. Have you ever had so much on your plate that you're going, I don't know where to begin? I'm serious. That's what's happening here. When I get back, I'll get into those two articles on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Talk about that, and then I'll break down the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights and compare it to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So we shall return right after this. This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hoedown. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
This is Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. There's a lot of things going on. A lot of things that we have to be aware of. And let's not forget, lest you forget, there's quite a bit that we're responsible for. Yeah. Didn't realize that, did you? Well, how do you think those criminals got into office in Washington, D.C.? Dun, dun, dun. We voted them in. Hello? We are responsible. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Fight the UN gun ban. United Nations, out of Reuters. Hours after U.S. President Barack Obama was re-elected, the United States backed a UN committee's call to renew debate over a draft international treaty to regulate the $70 billion global conventional arms trade. It's a petition, by the way. But yeah, the UN wants to take your guns away. That's the way it is. And don't give me this crap, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. They can't do that. They don't have regulations over the United States. Treaties, once, when they go through the United Nations and everybody agrees on that treaty and it's sent to the president for him to sign, sign on to what the UN wants, the treaty pretty much becomes law. Okay, but ask the American Indians how well government keeps their treaties. But the UN wants our guns. The UN wants our guns. That's the bottom line. Go look, go put in the search engine, the NSA CIA tracking system that you have, whichever one you want to use, and go look under Arms Trade Treaty or a UN Small Arms Treaty. Go look it up. Go look what a treaty is. Okay? Go check that out. Right next to it, if you are over there, there's another picture of our wonderful president. Do gun bans reduce violent crime? Ask the Aussies and the Brits. If the USA follows Australia's lead in banning guns, it can expect a 42% increase in violent crime, a higher percentage of murders committed with a gun, and 3 times more rape. The International Crime Victims Survey, conducted by Leiden University in Holland, found that England and Wales rank second overall in violent crime among industrialized nations. 26% of English citizens, roughly 1/4 of the population, have been victimized by violent crime. Australia led the list with more than 30% of its population victimized. The United States didn't even make the top 10 list of industrialized nations whose citizens were victimized by crime. Bob Costas is openly supporting rape with a gun ban. Okay? There's an article next to it if you'd like to read it. Click on the picture. You can go to the right of that picture and there's an article. Breaks it all down. Breakdown of control in Australia. There's a YouTube video. It's incredible. It's just simply incredible. The President of the United States on December 31st, 2011, signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law behind closed doors without congressional approval, stating before that he was going to take a provision out of there that said that the military could detain citizens, American citizens, indefinitely. He did take it out. Congress voted on it, passed it, it got to his desk, he put it back in, signed it, and there you go. Okay? So he's a big fat liar. He's a big fat liar. That's all he is. He does not know how to tell the truth. Okay? I got some things to talk about when it comes to truth about hosts on Spreaker, but that is for another day. Now, let me tell you, I live in an open carry state. Is it required that we carry a concealed permit, a concealed carry permit? This is an open carry state. We can just openly carry it as long as law enforcement can see it from 3 different points: back, side, front. You cannot have your coat over it. You cannot have your shirt over it. They have to be able to see it. Any state that requires any of its citizens to have a concealed carry permit is in total and absolute violation of the Second Amendment, the fundamental Second Amendment. That's in the Constitution, it's in the Bill of Rights, and it does say that we are free to keep and bear arms. And that right that we have shall not be infringed. And if that right is infringed, or let me back up a bit, if a state is saying you have to do this, you have to do that before you even can carry a gun, then that state is in violation of the federal Constitution and Bill of Rights, period. Oh, don't give me this crap. It's about militia. What do you think? What do you think? Who was a group of people that went with the armies in the Civil War? Okay? Who do you think the governors of the states can call up when the National Guard is lacking the personnel? By the way, where do you think the National Guard came from? I'll get into that too when I break down the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. Amendment 2 of the Bill of Rights say a well-regulated militia, being necessary for the security of a free state, and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So all you governors out there and all you representatives for the governors out there, you guys better read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. If you don't, and if you continue to say that you're going to require the citizens of your state to have a concealed carry permit, I indict you, because you are in total violation of our constitutional rights. Okay? I'm just saying. By the way, it is still on the books that we citizens, can perform citizen's arrest. We can do that. But at the bottom of the hour, I'll break down the Constitution of the United States, how I see it and what it means to me and what it should mean to you, because it is a document that, well, protects us, or should, or did at one point. All I can say is get your head out of your butt and go read it. Look it up. Go in the search engine, put in Constitution and Bill of Rights of the United States of America, PDF, if you want to go that route. And there you go. You can find a whole bunch. You can go to the archives.com. Check it out. I don't know. To me, there is a vast majority of people who are aware and awake of what's going on and very much knowledgeable. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there dumber than a box of rocks, and they don't care. Oh, the government's going to take care of me. Okay, sit on your ass and let the government take care of you. Let the government give you Obama phones. Oh, by the way, the health care that you thought was going to be free is not going to be free. Well, go to the ER and they just give it to us. They also bill you. Well, the state's supposed to pay for it. Not unless you signed up for social services, from what I hear. Okay? And if you know people on Social Security disability or retirement or Social Security, because they've worked all their life and they're now retired, chances are their medical health plans are going to double. And doctors in the system are leaving the system, are leaving their corporates and whatever, and they're just going independent because they can't handle it. It's too expensive because Obamacare has run them out of business. The doctor's offices, the partners, the groups, the clinics, that are doctor run, not county run, but the clinics that the doctors have that they go to in the inner city, they have to close up because they can't afford it. Now, county and all those, they may stay open, but for how long? Okay, for how long? No one knows the ramifications of all this. Well, I shouldn't say no one knows. Analysts have looked at this and examined it. And these analysts put all the ducks in a row and said, here's what you're going to get with Obamacare. It's a tax. Hello. The mandate. Tax. Hello. More money out of your pocket. It's already been seen as a tax, and the people investigating this and researching Obamacare have found that out. But do you think Washington, D.C. is going to look at it and go, oh, well, we'll just, we won't implement it then? No. It was an agreement between President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. By the way, if you're all old enough to remember when Hillary Clinton was First Lady, the second year, I think, what was it, 93 or 94, she went before Congress and proposed a socialized healthcare proposal. Okay? They shot it down then. Remember, I believe it was John Kerry that brought up a system of healthcare that would be, paid for or whatever, And let me tell you something. The government can't afford it anymore. Okay? A lot of people saying, well, I give you a prime example. Remember 20 years ago, whatever, if you were alive then. If you were, that was kind of strange. Remember about 20 years ago when you were younger, and everybody, and you heard people say, yeah, I'm going to go to work for the county and I'm going to have a really good retirement because I'm going to make $15, $16, $20 an hour. Remember that? Yeah, the county pays really good. Yeah, if I had a county job, and all that, right? Well, look at what has happened. The public unions have screwed every single public employee out of their retirement. And if it's not every single one, it's a vast majority of them. Look at California. Look at other states. Okay? But getting back to really focusing on where we are right now, we're not in a good place, folks. We're not in a good place. And we're at the edge of the fiscal cliff. And we will go into the hole. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And if we continue doing what we're doing right now, and we will, chances are, we're going over the cliff. Now, I've heard some people say, well, we need to collapse everything and start all over again. Really? Why don't we, the people, demand, because there's more of us than there are of them, demand every single politician in Washington, D.C., excluding a handful that are good guys on our side, why don't we demand that they be arrested for treason against the American people and tried for crimes against humanity? Huh? Why don't we just arrest all the bankers? Let's start out there. Let's get them in the wallet. Arrest all the bankers who laundered money for drug dealers. HSBC just came out and said they did that. Why don't we do what Iceland did? Collapse the whole country, get rid of their government, arrest all their people that, did illegal things with banking and the rest of the world, throw them in jail, redo this country, but base this country, including every single state, on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. Because that's how our founding fathers wanted it, period. But they understood that everybody had their own little view of things. They understood this. They weren't stupid. That's why they allowed each state to have their own constitution. I say if that state constitution is not in line with the verbatim or per principle, then that state is in violation of our God-given rights and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America, and those politicians should be jailed for treason. Well, that's harsh. You know what the punishment for treason is, don't you? Yeah. I think it would send a message to other people running for public office. Because the bottom line is this, folks. You and I are in charge. Well, 40-some% of us are in charge. I exclude maybe, another 5 to 8% because they don't care. Over 53% of the American people, it was shown in a poll, want socialism in this country. Folks, have you seen how well that has worked out for other countries? Huh? My other question is this. Are you completely stupid? That's only one of many brands of totalitarianism. And I know somebody's going to say, why are you calling me stupid? And to get some water. Excuse me. Why are you calling me stupid? 'Cause you are. What, are you more concerned about football than you are about the freedoms of this country? Are you more concerned about Kate Middleton's baby than you are about the liberties of this country? Huh. Seems to me your priorities are all screwed up. Folks, I told you before, this is a no-holds-barred show. I'm going to tell it like it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. But then that's your loss. The bottom of the hour, after the bottom of the hour break, I'm going to come back. I'm going to break down the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. I'm going to tell you why I say we the people have the power, because we are America. I'm also going to compare that to the piece of crap document from the United Nations called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I will tell you, there are a lot of people and a lot of organizations here in the United States wanting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to supersede the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So I'm going to break all that down for you. In the simplified United States Constitution and Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment doesn't go far enough. They left a few things out when they wrote that. Okay. But I've got another version here from constitutionfacts.com, the Bill of Rights. Go check that out. And I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to tell you what is. I'm going to tell you what we can do, or at least from my perspective, what we can do, what we hope to do. And then I'm going to tell you, well, let's just go one thing at a time, shall we? It's amazing, people. It's amazing. Have you read the Constitution? Have you read the Bill of Rights? Matter of fact, have you read the Declaration of Independence? Do you know how many people died to have that written? Do you know that over 250,000 people died because of that, or to have that Declaration of Independence? Probably more than that, huh? To have that Declaration of Independence be what it is to the United States. By the way, everybody thinks, well, in 1776 we got the Constitution. No, we didn't. We got the Declaration of Independence. We didn't get the Constitution and the Bill of Rights until 1791, 15 years after the War of Independence. Okay? So there you go. 1791. Consider that 70 years after it, we had a civil war. Isn't that kind of strange? I don't know, man. I do not know. I know we got to do something. We got to do it fast, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, folks. This is the Liberty and Freedom Network. You're listening to The Views Expressed live, broadcasting on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a Journey into Light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. We are back. This is the Views Expressed live on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Like us, subscribe to us, email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Thank you for joining me here on the Views Expressed for the 13th of December 2012. Thank you. Got to read you some stuff. Going to break it down for you. Going to give you my view. Yeah, I know you have your own. You can email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. First of all, from ConstitutionFacts.com, the United States Constitution and Amendments, the Bill of Rights. I'll start off with this. The Bill of Rights, on September 25th, 1789, Congress transmitted to the state legislatures 12 proposed amendments to the Constitution. Numbers 3 through 12 were adopted by the states to become the United States Bill of Rights, effective December 15th, 1791. James Madison proposed the U.S. Bill of Rights. It largely responded to the Constitution's influential opponents, including prominent founding fathers, who argued that the Constitution should not be ratified because it failed to protect the basic principles of human liberty. The U.S. Bill of Rights was influenced by George Mason's 1776 Virginia Declaration of Rights, the 1689 English Bill of Rights, works of the Age of Enlightenment pertaining to natural rights, common law as well, and early English political documents such as the Magna Carta 1215. 2 additional articles were proposed to the states. Only the final 10 articles were ratified quickly and corresponded to the first through 10th amendments of the Constitution. The first article dealing with the number of the first article dealing with the number and apportionment of U.S. representatives never became part of the Constitution. The second article, limiting the ability of Congress to increase the salaries of its members, was ratified 2 centuries later as the 27th Amendment, though they are incorporated into the document known as the Bill of Rights. Either article establishes a right as that term is used today. For that reason, and also because the term had been applied to the first 10 amendments long before the 27th Amendment was ratified, the term Bill of Rights is modern U.S. usage means only the 10 amendments ratified in 1791. The United States Bill of Rights plays a central role in American law and government and remains a fundamental symbol of the freedoms and culture of the nation. One of the original 14 copies of the U.S. Bill of Rights is on public display at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. And that is from constitutionfacts.org, U.S. Constitution and Amendments, the Bill of Rights. Let me tell you, I'm going to read this, so hang on to your horses there, people. From the Minnesota Center for Community Legal Education. Rights of the Accused, Simplified United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. They left something out of this one, so I've got the other one here. Quote, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America." Unquote. Number 1, the Constitution gives the power of making laws to Congress. Congress shall consist of 2 houses, a Senate and a House of Representatives. Okay. It goes into that. It goes into the House of Representatives, term of members 2 years, the Senate, term of members 6 years, privileges and rights of Congress. Let me go over that one. Members cannot be arrested when attending sessions or going to or returning home. Members cannot be questioned in any other place for any speech or debate in either house. Lawmaking. Money bills must start in the House. Then they have to be approved by Senate. When a bill passes both houses, it goes to the President for approval. If signed by the President, it becomes law. If the President does not want to sign it, the bill should be returned to Congress, which can pass it over the President's veto by a 2/3 vote in both houses. If the bill is not returned to Congress in 10 days, it becomes law without the President's signature. But if Congress is already adjourned and the President fails to return it, it is not a law. Pocket veto. The powers of Congress, this is important, to lay and collect taxes, to pay the debts, to provide for the common defense and general welfare of the U.S., to borrow money, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the states, to establish uniform rules of naturalization, making people not born in the U.S. U.S. American citizens, to coin money, to set up lower federal courts, to declare war, to raise and support an army and a navy, to provide for calling out the state militia to carry out the laws of the U.S., put down rebellion and repel invasions, to govern an area not to exceed 10 miles square to become the capital of the U.S., this would become Washington, D.C., and to govern forts, arsenals, dockyards, and other quote-unquote needful buildings. To admit new states into the Union, to make rules and regulations for the territories of the U.S., to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. Number 2. The Constitution, this is article number 2, the Constitution gives executive power to the President. Term of the President is 4 years. Goes into that. Goes into the removal of President. Goes into the powers of the President. Number 3, the Constitution gives judicial power, the power for judging, to the Supreme Court and to lower courts. Term of the judges, they shall hold office, quote-unquote, during good behavior. That is to say, they cannot be dismissed unless they do wrong. In other words, lifetime. They can stay there for a lifetime. Just going over this, number 4, the Constitution forbids the states to make a treaty or alliance with a foreign country, to issue paper money, to keep contracts from being carried out, to grant titles of nobility. Congress, who is not allowed to do this, Congress also is not allowed to do this, to levy taxes on imports or exports, to keep troops or ships of war in times of peace, and to go to war without consent of the Congress. Number 5, to change or amend the Constitution, 2 ways are provided. A, Congress by a 2/3 vote can propose an amendment. B, a convention can be called by 2/3 of the states to propose amendments. In either case, 3/4 of the states' legislatures must approve the change before it becomes part of the Constitution. Number 6, the Constitution, the laws of the U.S., and the treaties shall be, quote-unquote, the supreme law of the land, binding on every judge in every state. Number 7, no one shall be required to belong to a particular religion in order to hold an office in the U.S. government. So no, you can't force a person running for president to be a Catholic or to be a, whatever. So now, here's where it gets a little sticky. The Bill of Rights in this one that I'm reading from leaves out a few things. I don't know if they did that on purpose or what. I have no clue. But going back to the one from constitutionfacts.com, let me read the amendments. Amendment number 1. Freedom of religion, speech, and the press, rights of assembly and petition. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Basically, a redress of grievances is, I'm pissed off, here's why. A lot of people leave out the second part up there in the first line. They always read, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, and they stop right there. But it goes on and it says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. If you've got a church group that wants to meet in a school, the school's going to tell you no. The superintendent, whoever, is going to tell you no. Well, you bring this up. You bring the First Amendment up. You go talk to the American Center for Law and Justice. Okay? And you tell them about the First Amendment where it says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And if these places, no matter if it's school or some hall somewhere, doesn't allow your church group to go in there and do anything, they are in total and absolute violation of the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. Amendment number 2, right to bear arms. We all like that one. And it said, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So here's the United Nations coming along trying to take our guns with the Arms Trade Treaty or the Small Arms Treaty. Amendment number 3, housing of soldiers. That's kind of an interesting one. No soldier shall, in the time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in a time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. And what is that? I don't see anywhere that any law that says, here's how you deal with this. Amendment number 4, search and arrest warrants. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon a probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, the person or persons or things to be seized. In other words, unless you got a warrant, you ain't getting in. That's just the way it is. If they go to kick your door down, you have a right to defend your home. I'm just saying. Okay, just saying. Amendment number 5. This is a good one to remember. Rights in criminal cases. No one shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in a militia, when in actuality service in the time of war or public danger. Okay? Your place, your person, your papers cannot be searched. It's a violation of the Fifth Amendment right. And it goes on. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy or life of limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be the witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, which means you can't incriminate yourself. Nor shall private property be taken from public without just compensation. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. You got a piece of land, and your piece of land butts up against the sidewalk, and it's pretty good size, but the city or the county or the state want to take it, they have to pay you for it. Say you got like 3 acres, and a corner of it sits on, a sidewalk, but they want to take it from you and build a small park. Well, they have to pay you for it. It's just the way it is. Amendment number 6, rights to a fair trial. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Amendment number 7, rights in civil cases. In suits at common law, there where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment number 8, bails, fines, and punishments. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Amendment number 9, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. In other words, basically, they didn't cover everything. You know that you have more rights additionally protected that aren't in here. I mean, there's certain other things that you can do, and the courts see that. I've noticed a few cases that way. Amendment number 10. This is the one that every single state should hold to their bosom, grab it, hold it, push it in the face of people, because this is the key for every single state. Amendment number 10, powers retained by the states and the people, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Congress, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. If we don't like what Washington, D.C. is doing, we can tell them. We have the First Amendment, it says right there. Says right there. Let me look. We have the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. We have a right to do that. And going out and protesting and holding up signs and marching in the street, I don't care if it's 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. When you go out and protest something, you are peaceably assembling, and you are, in essence, petitioning the government with your grievance. Okay? So, there you go. Of course, The Second Amendment is everybody's favorite. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. By the way, sheriff's officers are, when the government comes to talk to them about certain things, or Agenda 21 or anything of that nature, the sheriff is the rule of law in the county. And if FBI, whatever comes to town and tries to do something and tries to influence, the sheriff can arrest them. In other words, okay, it's bottom line. He can arrest them. FBI comes in, he can arrest them. That's the sheriff's call. They don't do that because it's a lot of paperwork. It's a big headache. So, I mean, hell, if you were in a position like that, would you want the headache of all the paperwork? So, wow. Because of the fact that the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights is very lengthy, I am going to take a break now, and we shall return, and I will read to you, highlight to you those things that I believe are important for you to know. Actually, I may read the whole thing. That way you get to know the whole thing. If you want to go look it up, go to your search engine and put in UN or United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and you'll bring it up. So, in the meantime, we're going to go to break. We shall return right after this. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. We are back. I wanted to take the break early because I'm going to read through this. I'm going to break it down for you. It's the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I'm going to compare the two, hopefully by the end of the show, and show you which one is the greater one that we need in this country as the rule of law. Now, here I am. I'm floating around here. Someone just popped into the Spreaker chat. How you doing there, St. Clinton? I like that, St. Clinton. Now, I am going to say this. From my historical research and through history, we have had 237 years of a Constitution and a Bill of Rights of the United States of America. I have sworn and pledged to protect it. I'm former military, and I do other things as well outside of the ever watchful eye of the government, but they know what I'm doing. And we've had 237 years of this, And now we have a president that virtually gutted it on December 31st, 2011 when he signed the NDAA into law. Okay? He signed other things like executive orders, over 300 of them in his first term. Now I wonder how many he's going to sign now. Anyway, let's move on. I'm doing good, Clinton. Thank you very much. Email us, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at usa.com. The United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'll tell you, there's a lot of organizations in the United States wanting this over the Constitution. And of course, you got the radical Muslims wanting Sharia law over all of it. Yeah, which one do you want? Yeah, I think so too. Let me read you this. All human beings are born with equal and inalienable rights and fundamental freedoms. So far, so good, right? I'm going to break this down for you. I read it the other day, or yesterday. So I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to go highlight some certain things, and I'm going to tell you what I think. Continuing, the United Nations is committed to upholding, promoting, and protecting the human rights of every individual. This commitment stems from the United Nations Charter, which reaffirms the faith of the peoples of the world in fundamental human rights and in the dignity and worth of the human person. By the way, in August of 1997, the United Nations had signed, or I believe has signed, or didn't ratify a new charter. I'm not quite sure. I do know that a new one came up in August of 1997, and they were supposed to vote on it. I don't know what happened to it. Continuing. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations has stated in clear and simple terms the rights which belong equally to every person. These rights belong to you. They are your rights. Familiarize yourself with them. Help to promote and defend them for yourself as well as for your fellow human beings. Now, all of that sounds great, doesn't it? Sounds wonderful. Sounds all great, wonderful, fantastic. Not so much. Adopted and proclaimed by the General Assembly, Resolution 217A, Part 3 of the 10th of December, 1948. Okay? A couple of years after they established the United Nations, which is the accumulation of nations from the League of Nations, I believe. The preamble says, whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of the world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. Whereas it is essential, if man is not to be compelled to have recourse as a last resort to rebellion against tyranny and oppression, that human rights should be protected by the rule of law, whereas it is essential to promote the development of friendly relations between nations, and whereas the peoples of the United Nations have in the Charter reaffirmed their faith in fundamental human rights and the dignity and worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom, whereas member states have pledged themselves to achieve, in cooperation with the United Nations, the promotion of universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms, whereas a common understanding of these rights and freedoms is of the greatest importance for the full realization of this pledge. Now, therefore, the General Assembly proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations, to the end that every individual and every organ of society keeping this declaration constantly in mind shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms, and by progressive measures, national and international, to secure their universal and effective recognition and observance both among the peoples of the member states themselves and among the peoples of territories under their jurisdiction. Okay? Let me give you 2 words to remember. Sustainable development. Just think about that one for a minute. Also, how about these 2 words? Social justice. Okay? Just something. Okay? Article 1 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, I'm going to... JD showed up from Mobster Boss Radio. I don't have my... you're not able to call in today, but I will take a break here in about 5 minutes. Or actually, about 10 after, I'll take a break. So, JD, hang on to your horses. And thank you for showing up. I appreciate that very, very much. So let me read a couple of these articles here from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. These are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Article 2, everyone is entitled to the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political or jurisdictional or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. Article 3, everyone has a right to life, liberty, and security of person. Article number 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. 2 words, minimum wage. Article 5, no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Article 6, everyone has a right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. And by the way, I'm only going to go to Article 10, then I'll go to break, and then I'll set everything up. So, JD, if you're still hanging out there, give me a sec. Article number 7. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Article 8. Everyone has a right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. Article 9. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. That goes against the NDAA, subsection 1021 and 1022, does it not? So there you go. Article number 10. After this, I'll go to break. Everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of his rights and obligations of any criminal charge against him. Those are the first 10 articles of the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I want to break this down, and probably tomorrow I On Open Forum Friday, I will go through and really go into detail about how this Universal Declaration of Human Rights is actually in total violation of the Constitution of the United States of America. We didn't have we didn't have a United Nations back in 1776, but we had, I got to tell you, we had a bunch of people that wanted socialism, wanted this country to be a communist country, but we changed that. Did you know, if you check back in history, did you know that George Washington was asked to be the king of America? Did you know that? Oh my goodness. Hey, gonna take a little break here. Gonna set things up. I'm gonna have see if I can get this thing working here. Have somebody call in. So JD, hang on to your short hairs there, dude. I shall get to you in just a sec. I'll tell you in the chat room when I'm all set up. So, this is the Liberty and Freedom Network. You are listening to the views expressed right here on Spreaker.com.